Good evening, my fellow Americans. It is indeed Monday, June the 27th, 2022. I'd like to say kudos to all of you, those of you who are smart enough to log into the Robert Duverny Show. You know, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., there's no other place to be but at the Robert Duverny Show. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, we always have a wonderful show for you, but tonight, this show will be unlike any others. I'm not setting your expectation too high, but I think at the Robert Duverny Show, that's all we do. We've taken an oath many years ago to serve the public, and this is our duty. And on behalf of the entire nation, those of you living from the great state of Florida, all the way to the state of Oregon, wishing you all a happy Monday, which is the last Monday of the month of June. I'm sure all of you did your due diligence, wishing your father, your loved one, happy Father's Day. And of course, this is the week preceding the 4th of July. 4th of July, which is next week. Next week, I'd like to do some housekeeping work here. Next week, the Robert Duverny Show will take the evening off. I figured that this is Independence Day. I'd like for you to take some time to reflect on the nation and also do some heart soul searching, and at the same time look at some fireworks. And the Robert Duverny Show will be off, and I figured the American people need a break from everything, and then to celebrate our great nation. Again, those of you who are watching live, I encourage you to stay tuned. There's plenty to go around, and I'm wishing you just a few minutes to call a friend, let them know that we are live. You know, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's a Robert Duverny Show. I'm giving you a few minutes, I'll give you a few seconds actually, to call a buddy of yours, let them know that we are on. It's the time now to call a friend or colleague, let them know that we are live. We are live. I'm giving you a few seconds to call a buddy of yours, let them know that we're already on, and we're waiting for you to come in and at the same time share the good time with us here, because that's all we have in the Robert Duverny Show. It's a great show that we encourage you to take a great time to call a buddy of yours, let them know that we are on. We're streaming live here in the great state of Florida, and I'm giving you a few seconds to call a buddy of yours, let them know we are on. I'm going to give you 2 seconds here while I'm playing a few things for you, and then we'll be right back with you again. Stand still. All right. We're back. Like I said earlier, we wanted to give you a few seconds to call a buddy of yours. Let them know that the Robert Duverny Show is on. Again, once more time, this is Robert Duverny from the great Robert Duverny Show, which comes on to you every Monday at 8 p.m. You know, if it's 8 p.m., if it's Monday, it's a Robert Duverny Show. Well, tonight, my fellow Americans, I'm sure you have some type of an expectation of what the topic will be tonight. We have several topics to delve into. However, we're going to keep it very professional here, and encourage your enthusiasm. I'm sure most of you will be excited to talk about some issues here. And also, I'd love to encourage your questions. Just before I delve into anything further, I'd like to say kudos to Mr. Emmanuel Escobar from the great city of Dayville, logging live for the first time. Emmanuel, you've making a great choice, sir, by logging the Robert Duverny Show. Thank you for logging in. Thank you. Also, Mr. Odilson Ambrose from the great city of Miami. Those of you who are always looking for a great teacher in math, there's no one else but Ambrose, my man. All right. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what I'll be discussing with you tonight is, of course, the latest on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has recently voted down. I'm sure you've heard the vote. It was 5-4. I'm sure most of you know that we have three branches in the U.S. government. Those of you who have taken the U.S. citizenship many years ago, you know we have the executive, the judiciary, and also the legislative. Again, those three were created in the hope of checking on each other. The checks and balance. That's the reason why we have those three branches in the U.S. government. As you know, Roe versus Wade, which was a Supreme Court landmark, which took place back in 1973, almost 50 years ago. What happened is in 1973, there was a woman. They didn't want to disclose her name, but for fear of death, go by Roe. Okay, Jane Roe, and Roe was actually was pregnant, and then her first time she had it. And then she was pregnant with the third child, and she wanted to have an abortion. And yet she had a lot of issues. She couldn't find a place to do it because there was restriction when it comes to abortion. Well, somehow Roe got her case heard by the Supreme Court, and that's how we got the landmark of Roe versus Wade. Now, as you know, the whole story, that eventually it was the law of the land. Now, when it's the law of the land, it's at the federal level, which means that you could travel around the United States. Let's say, for instance, if you're in the state of Florida does not allow abortion in each state has their own restriction. There's a certain weeks that they figured after certain weeks you cannot have it after 15 weeks in the state of Florida. The last case we had, which was presented before the Supreme Court, was a case in Mississippi, the great state of Mississippi. As you know, the U.S. Supreme Court voted 6-3 in favor of that court to ban abortion in the state of Mississippi. And as you know, all the conservative justices vote for that. That's the reason why it came out 6-3. And the other three liberals voted against it. And that was the Supreme Court. And then the next day, of course, and this was somewhat of what to come. And we all knew, I'm sure those of you who may be somewhat of political savvy, I wouldn't say political junkie, but a political savvy who happened to follow the trend that the U.S. Supreme Court was heading. So we all knew there was a leak as of recently that Justice Alito, who actually dissented against it, he actually wrote the majority opinion in the case against Roe. So definitely we knew that day was coming. Now, I should make it known to my audience, and of course those of you who are watching around the world, that the Robert Duverny Show does not pay any allegiance to a political party, and at the same time as what versus opinion that you may differ. So at the Robert Duverny Show, we tend to lay the case before you, and you as a public, as smart as you are, you would definitely make the ultimate decision. At the same time, bring some light. What we've seen at the Robert Duverny Show and around the nation, we're not talking anymore. We're not talking. I think it's important that we keep an open dialogue, that we as Americans, we as a people, we can disagree without being disagreeable. And that's the platform that the Robert Duverny Show had in mind when this show was created many years ago. Now, with all that being said, we're going back to whereas abortion is a very touchy issue. For some reason, there are those who are very adamant about abortion, and there are those who have different views, who are somewhat lenient. And as an American, as a concerned citizen, I believe that abortion is a human right. Is that right? And what may be shocking to you this evening is that this is the very first time, again, I'm saying it to you again, this is the very first time the U.S. Supreme Court, has rescinded from a right. That never happened in the history of America. The U.S. Supreme Court rescinded a right of its citizen. Now, most of you, we know that there's what you call, there's 27 amendments in the Constitution. And out of those 27 amendments, we had 13th Amendment, which was ratified the right to end slavery. So I'm sure most of you probably know the Second Amendment. That's all that's talked about. And now we wonder why they put so much emphasis on the Second Amendment. It's because it's a business. It's making money. So if I were to ask the average American, can you tell me 5 amendments to the Constitution? Okay? I don't want to challenge you, my viewers. I'm sure most of you are smart. But if I were to ask you, give me 5 amendments out of the 27, I'm sure most of you will probably tell me the Second Amendment, and that's about it. The right to bear arms, which is fine. That's fine and dandy. But the U.S. always improved. That's what we do as Americans. We make things better. Okay, we show compassion. We have empathy for others, and this is what makes us great. That's what makes us the nation that we are. This is the nation that everyone around the world aspire to be part of. And as I said it prior in a previous show, there are those who come to the shores of the United States, and within a year or 2 years, they view themselves as Americans. Wow. You view themselves as Americans. Why? Because they embrace the ideals that we go by. That's the beauty of America. Now, with the Supreme Court, who just struck down the abortion rights, I mean, that really, it did not happen overnight. Like I said again, full disclosure, at the Robert Duverny Show, we take no sides. I'm going to give you a little example here. Those who voted for the strike down of the abortion right, Roe versus Wade, we should also point out that this has been in the making for the past 50 years. The very first year that Roe versus Wade was a law of the land, there were those who were working to get rid of it, and they never linger. That's the beauty. That's what I admire the most about the other side. They never linger. They stay the course. And then today, on June 24th, just this Friday, their hope, their answers were answered. Their prayers were answered. Correction. So now, if we think about it, we, as Americans, we never give up. And then that's the beauty I like about the other side. For 50 years, what have they done? Well, they control, although they were in the minority, oftentimes, but they control the actual system, whereas they control the state legislature, they control the House, and now they control the governors. So, although they were making stride, they were small steps, but these small steps ultimately lent them what they always wanted, which was to strike down Roe versus Wade. So, if you were to take a page from the conservatives, that's what you should take. Baby steps. Baby steps. Eventually, you crawl and you walk. And that's exactly what happened. I hope the other side take advantage of that. They take a lesson from that. I believe that they all see the best interests of Americans. I never doubted the other side interest. Never doubted. But what I admire the most is their courage, their resiliency, in spite of all. There were those who believed that they would lose elections every year. Well, they may lose an election every so often, but at the end, at the day, they're making changes that affect us all. Look what they've done. Look what they've done. And it's funny that we all, anyways, I mean, I got stopped by a few colleagues this past weekend, or also on the street, those who were watching the Robert Duverny show. Well, they wanted to know my opinion about this whole movement, because they call it a movement, okay? This whole changes in the Supreme Court, the way of this track down the vote. Well, I told them, well, this was, well, I saw the handwriting on the wall many years ago. And that's the beauty of staying the course. And that's my prayer for all Americans, to stay the course. And that tells me that those who persevere will ultimately win. There's a great champion, Vince Lombardi, who said, winners never quit, but quitters never win. So that's exactly what happened here. The conservative, the far right of the United States have stayed the course. They've stayed the course over the years. Just the past election cycle, the prior administration, they were to put in place 3 conservatives, which is a third of the Supreme Court. Imagine that in one term. In one term, you put in place 3 conservatives. That's deep. That's powerful. Very good. Well, I just see your notes here from, of course, our great friend here, Dr. Azor from the Grid. So he said, yes, Republicans create change from local government to top. Democrats sit and complain. They concentrate on moderate social issues and student loans. Well, I could not have said it better. You made an ultimate point. It's a good point that you made. It's the fact that we as Americans, we know a thing or two about the standard course. So tonight, what I'd like to bring up to your attention is the fact that what happened last week was not just the only thing that happened. I'm sure the Supreme Court struck down the Roe versus Wade, but there was also another one that I'd like to point out to you that no one talks about, is of course the Kennedy versus the Bremerton School District. All right. If anybody heard about the Kennedy versus Bremerton School District, give me a thumbs up here. That was very great. That was a great. Those of you, those evangelicals, those who practice, who exercise your faith, this right there was also a landmark. What is it in reality is that, Dr. Azor, thank you. I'm sure I have nothing but smart viewers on my show, and yeah, I'd like to delve into this one real quick. And it's the fact that it was a great landmark, whereas the U.S. Supreme Court really voted in favor of Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, I should also tell you, he was an assistant coach for football high school. This is a man, win or lose, he will definitely walk down the field and at the middle of the field and kneel down and pray. But the school did not too keen about the idea, so he was fired. So, well, if you think you are fired without a good cause, so you present your case to a jury and then of your peers, and then that's exactly what happened. It went to the state, and then he didn't do well there. He appealed to the Supreme Court, and then sure enough, that happened in 2014, and then here we are right now. It's the Supreme Court voted in his favor that he has a right to kneel. So in other words, you can exercise your faith at any given point, at any place, public place. You feel free. So I think it was remarkable that happened. So very important. Thank you so much. Now, another point I wanted to point out to you, of course, is the January 6th. The January 6th, as you all know, just recently they're in motion. They have a lot to deal with, and lately we will look at where they're going as a panel. And they just had an emergency call. They made out to the panel. As you know, Congress right now is technically in recess. The U.S. Congress always in recess for a reason that you and I would never know. So if you could turn on your lights right now, there's more to come, and I'm going to delve into some more topics with you. And then every night, just let a friend know that if those of you did not get to watch the show live, I encourage you to tell a friend to watch the replay, which comes on every Monday at 8 p.m. So I encourage you to call a friend and have them sign into the Robert Duverny Show every chance that you get. Well, before I jump into further things, I think that tomorrow, before I close the January 6th panel, tomorrow will be a great day. Those of you at 1 o'clock, the panel has some important information they would like to relay. I mean, if they call a special session after during the recess, that tells me that they have a lot to discuss with the American people, and they want to bring it to the fore. So stay tuned. We don't know what bombshell that will be discussing tomorrow, and but I encourage you to stay tuned. Okay, it's very important. It's very important. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, all right. Well said, Dr. Hazel. Thank you. All right. Now, another thing I'd like to touch with you tonight. We have so many things on the agenda. Going back to all this week. Okay. All this week, what we see is the fact that all the attention has been shifted toward Roe versus Wade. Okay. That has been the that has been the focus here. But one thing I'd like to point out to you is of course the fact that there is much more. As you can see, Roe versus Wade take all the oxygen in the room. Okay, no one is talking about the January 6th panel, the discovery. No one talking about gas. No one talking about the inflation. No one talking about anything else but this. Now, you would wonder if this is something in the making. And Mr. Clarence Thomas, I'm sure most of you may know Mr. Clarence Thomas. Mr. Clarence Thomas has always been one who actually somewhat conservative that most people would know by now. Okay, so it's important that we keep those in mind, and as we go on, and we should take that into equation. So, with that being said, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll get back to you in just a second. Stay tuned for a quick break here. Thank you. Okay, very good. So I'm back. I'm back with you live again. Again, the Robert Duverny Show is just back. So I just wanted to get a break here for just a second. Get me a little water from the Robert Duverny Show. Well, what's important is that although we see a change in the U.S. Constitution, right? Again, we encourage those of you watching to call a friend right now. Just so Dr. Hazel, just a Clarence Thomas, a vengeful judge. Clarence Thomas, really, to be honest with you, again, at the Robert Duverny Show, we don't take side, we don't criticize our justices, but then again, we know a thing or two of where they stand as for what matters to them the most. We wonder why Mr. Thomas, Justice Thomas, would love to delve into other issues relating around contraception. So, well, the Supreme Court always keep a tight lip. So in other words, they don't discuss their views, their agenda. But what we have seen today is that those justices, particular few, we're not going to name them, but they tend to take a position whereas they want to be like some kind of diva or devo, depending on the sexes. And normally the Supreme Court justices, they don't talk. You never know what they're up to. I mean, these are guys who have great judgment, who are not judgmental. They tend to be impartial, but we have seen a polarization at the Supreme Court level. And according to the latest research, Pew Research, and poll conducted recently, the justice, those 9 justices are viewed as 25% favorable. That's very low. I'd say very on the it's up to between 25 and 33. That's which is like one third of the nation of Americans believe in the justice system. So it become polarizing. So we need to take heed. We need to reflect the independence from the other two branches. So I think this is what we want from our justices. This is what we expect, and this is how they should conduct themselves. And now, if they're not doing so, they're doing a disservice to the American people. And the American people count on you every day and every night. All right. So, as you know, Justice Thomas was somewhat mentioned with his wife, Virginia Thomas, who happened to be a loyalist to the former president. She actually, according to a report, that she had some kind of involvement in the insurrection, and of course the way that they were going to proceed with the confirmation of the Electoral College. And then now there were those who wanted Justice Thomas to recuse himself. Dr. Izzo's killing me. I should point out, Dr. Izzo's all the way in Africa right now, and she's actually, I don't know what time it is over there. I'm sure they're probably glad she's up for the Robert Duverny show. I think that speaks volume. Those loyal friends, I cannot say enough about you in Africa. There's like a 11 hours differential. She's way over there. She's well, actually, probably 5 or 6 hours differential. Okay, so if it's 8:27 right now, it probably most likely 1 o'clock over there. All right, what's that? 4:27 a.m. Wow. Kudos. Let's give kudos to Dr. Izzo from Africa right now. It's 4:27 a.m. She know that the Robert Duverny show comes on every Monday at 8 p.m. She would not miss it. Again, I tip my hat to you, and you, my hero. And as you travel the globe, and the Robert Duverny show has reached the coast of Africa, my native land, of course, and we applaud you for your hard work. Thank you so much. Now, to go back to Ms. Jeannie Thomas, there were some who wanted Justice Thomas to recuse himself should there be some kind of proceeding that reached the Supreme Court that because he would tend to be biased. And what Mr. Thomas, Justice Thomas, I wonder, I don't want to give jokes about Thomas, but again, I hope I don't get to it tonight. But Justice Thomas really is the one that was making all the noise right now in the Supreme Court. As you know, this is a man who never said anything. I wonder, at one point, I wonder if this guy ever talked. You know, I thought he was mute. But right now, Justice Thomas is the one making the headlines at the Supreme Court. He's the divo in chief. Justice Thomas talking about taking contraceptive. That will be the next thing on his on the agenda for the Supreme Court eventually. Not that they did away with abortion, Roe versus Wade. They're going to go after the contraceptive. Oh, these women, oh my God, he's going to be in trouble with these women. Oh my God. And also he's talking about same-sex marriage. I mean, do away with this. Well, Mr. Thomas, you're going to have a fight. You're going to have an uphill battle here. I should also point out that Justice Thomas is a great American. But he seldom talks. But just this week, he's been on a mission. But then again, he's done all that to shift the attention away from the January 6th, and of course his wife not mentioned, of course, in this whole deliberation at the January 6th. So you have to understand politics. You have to understand maneuvering. You know, that's manipulation in my view. So against Justice Thomas, do what you do, man. I wonder if Justice Thomas, where else Justice Thomas would go if Justice Thomas were to vote for God knows what, any issues related to. I'm not gonna go there. Which way would he vote? You know where would he vote, all right? All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. All right, so again, we have an election coming up. What at stake this November? Neither of us know. So I think that this upcoming election will be fun to watch, and I encourage you to stay tuned to the Robert Duverny show. and because there will be a lot at stake. I believe we're going to see a lot of women out there. The women, they've taken away your rights. Either you pro-life or pro-choice. I think this is something that was at your disposal. Either you use it or not. And then I think that I don't see any compassion when it comes to these issues. I mean, for you to rescind a right that was given 50 years ago, this is the first time in the U.S. history that the United States Supreme Court has rescinded a right of its citizens. That never happened before. So is that the premise for future? Only the future would know. But I encourage you to stay tuned and stay informed. And as Americans, I think it's important that we stay informed on issues that affect us on a regular basis. And I know we have so much distraction. I mean, we have the entertainment industry, we have sports, we have now we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have YouTube. We have so many distractions at our disposal. Plus, we have TV. So I think it's important that we, as Americans, we stay informed. And people who are informed are the future of the nation. And I think most politicians, they every so often give us a pacifier. Okay, every election years they give you a pacifier. They tell you what they're going to do, and at the end of the day, they do the complete opposite. I think we, as a people, I think we have an ultimate right to demand from our elected leaders. And until we do that, we're doing ourselves a disservice. And these so-called politicians, they take great pleasure in fooling you. And because they know oftentimes you're not paying attention, somehow you would forget about it because most people don't remember what they had for breakfast this morning, let alone what the politicians did a year ago or promises they made. So I think that right there is a disservice. All right. I'd like to give kudos to my Jen Lewis cousin who just locked in, my lovely cousin Rosalind Jen Lewis from the great state of Florida. Good to see you online. Thank you for locking to the Robert Duverny Show. You're a smart young lady. Keep it up. Daniel Jen Lewis, my man DJ, welcome to the Robert Duverny Show. You're making a smart move by logging to the Robert. Those of you who are logging tonight, you have made a special decision. You have made a great choice just by logging to the Robert Duverny Show. I encourage you to log into YouTube. Please subscribe. That's where I know that how loyal you are to the Robert Duverny Show. That's why I would encourage us to come in on a weekly basis and to share with you things that are vital. Things that are vital for your daily life, and of course we all revere the politics somehow. Now, I'm sure most of you may not take great stride in politics, but guess what? We all evolve around politics. So somehow, some way, we need our elected officials. All right. We won't go back. We will not be enslaved by men in power who don't respect women. I'm taking the street. I like that. I have a powerful woman here who says she would not be enslaved by men in power. Wow. Well, fired up. Well, I think you guys are special creatures. Any man who mess with women, you're messing with the wrong woman, buddy. I think women will take the streets, as you could see in past weeks. They've taken the street to protest their God-given rights. Okay, they tell us stay away from my so on and so forth. You have other women who say, well, we're going to go to the election booth and tell these folks, how to do things. You don't tell me what to do. Now think about how crazy would that be. Imagine the U.S. Supreme Court were to rescind the Second Amendment. My God, both men and women will be taking the streets right now. But now they've taken away Roe versus Wade. I've seen a lot of women, and I've seen some men who show compassion, who support the women. They're taking the streets with them. But then again, I've seen quite a few men that they are supporting the women. That's great. I mean, at the Robert Duverny Show again, we take these things very seriously. And I think it's our duty to express these things in a fashion that is acceptable to the audience, and of course, bring some light. Every time we can bring light to the nation, to the great people that we serve on a regular basis, I think it's a great thing. We're not doing ourselves a disservice, but I think we're doing ourselves a great favor. Well, my fellow Americans, it's already 8:35. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for logging in this evening. You know, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., there's no other place to be but at the Robert Duverny Show. You have made a right decision by logging this evening. I'd like to give some shout outs to, of course, Mr. Mike Etienne, of course, for logging in. Thank you for your support. Applaud you. I'd like to say good evening to, of course, Daniel Jean Lewis, of course. Who else I'd like to say that those of you who log into the Robert Duverny Show, you have made a right choice. And I encourage you to encourage a friend, let them know about the Robert Duverny Show, which comes on every Monday. And then now, how do I keep track of you? Do I know you're a loyal friend of mine? Is by subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is under the Robert Duverny, the real deal. If it's a real deal, it's a Robert Duverny Show. That's it. Very good. Well, tonight, before I leave, I'd like to touch the 4th of July. 4th of July, which will be next week, Monday. Again, I've stated at the very beginning, at the top of the segment, that there won't be a show next week on the 4th of July. I'm sure most of you guys will be at watching fireworks. And I'm sure you're loyal to the show, but I would not want to take you away from the enjoyment with your family and also the fireworks that we celebrate our independence on that day. We will take the night off, and we will resume with you on the week of the 11th. July 11th will be a great day. There will be someone special, her birthday coming up on that day. We would not miss that, July 11th. Happy early birthday already. So we encourage you, of course, Esther Pierre Lewis from the great city of New York. Her birthday will coming on the July 11th, the time that we resume back. So I expect to see her live on the Robert Duverny Show. And just before I close tonight, I'd like to leave you with a quote until we see you again. And this quote goes by, if I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. Those were the words of Dr. King. Dr. King, as you all know, has always been my mentor. He's a man that I admire a great deal. And he's been my motto. And I've always wondered what would it be like if I had a chance to meet Dr. King. And I've always used him, and especially in my quote, he's a man who inspired me a great deal. Again, I appreciate your effort in coming in tonight. And we look forward to seeing you here next week, not next week, but the 11th. All right. So until next time, my fellow Americans, have a lovely evening. Happy 4th of July. Until next time. Again, good night to even inside St. Louis, just locked in. Dr. Azor from right now, not in Atlanta, Georgia, but actually in Africa. Thank you so much. I admire your support a great deal, and I admire you all. And until we see you again, my fellow Americans, have a lovely evening. Thank you.